So just a note about where we are in terms of our farm process. People, when they come to our farm in April and then they come back in July, they say, wow, it looks different. Everything's constantly moving. In the winter, things don't move nearly as much. We're letting the grass sort of rest and regenerate, which is why everyone's more or less stationary right now. But were you to come out any other time of the year after next Monday, you know, the laying hens could be out there, pigs could be out in the back corner. Everyone will be sort of dancing around one another on the pasture. But we have arrived here at our brooder. This is where all of our meat birds cycle through for their first 2 weeks on the farm. And basically what we're doing in here is we're simulating a big mama hen. So we're keeping them warm, keeping them dry, keeping them protected from predators. Right now in here we have about 300 Freedom Rangers that are 2 weeks old. They'll actually go out into those pens on Monday. And then we also have, if you see some that look a little different, about 30 ducks in there. Those are Pekin ducks. They are a new enterprise for us. The Aflac duck is a Pekin duck. So, we're starting out this year with just a small batch of them, brooding them alongside with the chicks, using it as a learning experience. We're certainly not an expert on duck brooding, but so far, so good. All of our enterprises on this farm, because of economics, again, is a major theme, keeps coming up again. We start small and build on success. So we like to take on projects just a little bit at a time, so that if it ends up being a major mistake, we can eat it. And then, you know, no harm lost. But some of the specs on the brooder, basically it's an open floor plan. We used to do like an aisle down the middle and deal with them on the sides, but if you keep it relatively clean, you can step right in, and if anybody is feeling adventurous enough to go in, you're more than welcome to open the door on that end and explore in there.
Don't step on anybody.
Yeah, don't step on anybody. They're pretty agile right now. But we keep composted with wood chips. Because they're not moving over pasture, we keep them away from their manure by constantly adding wood chips in there. We get that from a local lumber mill. And then there's feeders and water earth in there. They get the same thing in the brooder that they do out on pasture. And then there's also a hover brooder, which is something that we just started with this year. Last year we were brooding with hanging lights, heat lamps, which is good, but it's pretty inefficient. The hover, and when you peek in and look at it, it's a box with lights on the inside of it, and it keeps a smaller area extremely warm so that the chickens can go in there and heat up really quickly and go out to wherever they need to go and cool down. And it's, as opposed to using 8 heat lamps, you use 2 with a hover brooder and get the same effect. We use the brooder lights for about the first week or so, depending on the season. Obviously in summer it's a lot shorter, and then after that the birds are on a natural schedule, and then they're ready to go out on pasture when they're big enough so that they can't freeze through chicken wire, and you know, not extremely vulnerable to wind and rain and things like that. So does anybody have any questions about brooding?
So you don't actually change the wood chips while they're in there, you just keep adding and adding?
We just keep adding and adding, and probably, you know, we'll go through a couple of batches of birds, and then we'll take them out and either use them in our compost pile, or you can mix them up and use old chips. I'm told that they have sort of antibiotic properties, and we've used old chips without any issues in the past.
How did you make the brooder box?
How did we make the brooder box? Elliot.
Send me an email and I'll send you the plan. It's all it is it's just an upside down box. Just plywood and 2x4 chips. But I mean, we come like, everything we do is sort of like iterations on, we start with one way and then, okay, take the best of that. So I mean, our original brooder had an aisle, and then like that was still a lot of floor space, so we went to this. But a year from now we'll probably have something that's like, we think this is so,
well, I mean, a farm is always evolving, and if you try something, for lack of a better word, that's cheap and easy, and see how it works, and then improve upon it, you know, before you sort of go full hog, and maybe you end up with a system that's not really workable for you. So things are always being tweaked a little bit at a time. we don't feel so bad when, you know, we spent $5 on the hover breeder when we need to change it around. But right now, after 2.5 seasons, this is pretty good. It's working out well for us.
Sure. Have you thought about grazing your pigs here to send up the nuts?
Yes, we have. And that is probably these aisles on the end are not for the